General, we now know who the culprit was.
My apologies, Commissioner.
And apologies to the gentleman to my right.
I already apologized.
Thank you, Chair.
Sigels Nube.
General, we were at paragraph 35 on page 14. Do you want to address, because this is where you start talking about events that transpired from the time that General Mkhwanazi made his press statement. So from 35, if you can address that.
Yeah. Page 35, I indicate that my involvement in the matters reference before the Commission must therefore be understood within the context of long outstanding operational policing responsibility, lawful engagement with investigative sources, command oversight of complex investigation, and institutional obligation to combat organized crime.
Sorry, General, before you proceed, 35.2, what do you mean by investigative sources?
Investigative sources refers to community sources who can provide information or registered informers who can, and also physical evidence obtained from the scenes which can provide information to lead to the crime.
But when you say lawful engagement with investigative sources, do you mean informants, lawful engagement with informants?
That's informants and also crime intelligence included.
Okay, thank you.
Any interaction or knowledge contributed to me arose within the professional duties and operational mandate. I am presently on suspension arising from the administrative process described above. The sequence of events demonstrate that this outcome did not occur in isolation but followed a progressive development of adverse perception concerning my role. In July 2025, supposed to say Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, not Major. Yes. Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi made a public statement in which the reference were made of members arrested for drug trafficking during 2021 who were said to have been attached to head office organized crime. That statement created inference that the organized crime environment under my command was implicated in wrongdoing. However, at the time of the arrest in question, I was serving as the acting Deputy Provincial Commissioner Crime Detection in Gauteng and was not occupying the position later associated with those allegations.
General, at the risk of asking you to elaborate, what are you talking about when you say the 2021 drug trafficking issue?
I'm referring to the statement made by witnesses here to say there were members of the South African Police Service who were arrested with a big consignment of drugs in Al Road in Johannesburg in 2021. And it was said those members, 3 of them were from head office. 2 were from dog unit and 1 was attached to organized crime investigation. So I want to clarify that indeed that statement was incorrect, that the members were from organized crime. That member was arrested there with the traffic officer and other members. It was only one member attached to serious and violent crime head office, not organized crime. And further, I would like to state that during the arrest, because the information came with General Khan following the consignment from Devon, they wanted to intercept it in Jimistin, but they couldn't until it reaches the factory in Al Road. When they arrived at the scene, those police officers already offloaded the drugs from the truck to their police van and they were about to leave. The owner closed the gate. General Khan summoned investigators from DPCI and General Kadwa arrived with his team. When they were busy processing the scene, the superintendent from the National Traffic, namely Mashava, called the provincial commissioner, claiming that they were tracing this truck and they wanted to arrest the suspect. Now they have been arrested. And that time it happened, I was with the provincial commissioner and the deputy provincial commissioner at Pretoria Mode police station where we were launching the vaccination station. Then the PC was on sick leave, he came for that event. And he gave the phone to General Mtombeni, who was the acting GPC. General Mtombeni gave me the phone and said, "This is Detective Matter, deal with it." After listening to it, I said, "Who is at the scene?" Then I was told General Kadwa is there. I phoned General Kadwa, who explained to me, "No, we are going to arrest these people. They were stealing the drugs." And they end up being arrested. And this guy kept on phoning. I even phoned General Kadwa to say, "Hey, you are suspect, take away the phone. He's bothering us here." So, after that, when their case was withdrawn, they opened a counter case of defeating the ends against General Kadwa Kana and the people who were there from DPCI. That is when the General Khan was charged departmentally and General Kadwa and Sukhobel. Then I was also cited as one who didn't want to take the instruction of General Mawela to go and visit the scene so that they can be released. So IPD, when doing investigation, they came to take my statement and I explained I didn't have any business. That was mandate of DPCI and the DPCI was making arrests and the people were arrested. So I was trying to demonstrate here that inference that he was from organized crime, head office, is incorrect. Is from serious and violent crime head office. And that time I was still in Gauteng. So because I see this thing attempts to want to link me with those wrongdoings of that. Because my name further is mentioned and it will be the same organized crime I'm running, which always is found to be in the wrong side. So hence, I wanted to clarify it to the commission.
Yeah, I'm not clarified on it because you say the statement created the inference that the organized crime environment under my command was implicated in wrongdoing. However, at the time of the arrest in question, I was serving as the acting deputy provincial commissioner, crime detection in Gauteng. So, but then you said that the member was from serious and violent crime, right?
Yes.
So, under which division, under who did the member fall under as serious and violent crime?
Serious and violent crime is a component within the division detective service under General Motsepe.
Under General Motsepe?
Yes.
Okay. So why didn't you say in the statement that the member was actually from serious and violent crime, not from organized crime? You don't focus on the member here. That's what I'm struggling with.
Okay, I think, because also I wanted to attach the SAPS 92, which I have as an annexa to show where you worked.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that the statement should have just said the member that's implicated is not from organized crime. The member was from serious and violent crime. But you don't say that. You're rather saying that there mustn't be any implication relating to you because you weren't in charge of organized crime at the time.
Yeah, I think mistake was made when we were editing the written one, because there I indicated that.
Okay.
I even attached the SAP 96 as evidence.
Okay. Thank you.
But I'm not sure if it was sent also as attachment to that SAPS 6 of that particular member.
I'm not sure that we've received it, but we'll have a look at it. It's just I wanted clarity on that aspect. It's fine. We can proceed.
Yeah, I'm having it. We can produce it later.
Sir, before you proceed, General, you say the statement created the inference that organized crime under your control or command was implicated in wrongdoing. The statement itself, did it mention you by name?
No. It mentioned it when that was mentioned. It was further mentioned that a senior officer, the general from head office at organized crime, also called the members who were investigating that particular case of Armand Swart. Coincidental also is from head office. So everything in that organized crime office whatsoever. So I wanted to make distinction to say this one is not from organized crime. It's from serious and violent, and it cannot be linked into what is linking me with what I have done during the course of my work and whatsoever, of which I will explain it later as to what happened and why people were called to my office. Because out there, it will seem I'm running a team of corrupt cops who go out to get this wrong, to do these wrong activities.
Thank you, General.
Including myself.
Yes. No, thank you. You have explained or answered my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. General, then you can continue with 38.
Following the public statement and in the months thereafter, further adverse reference emerged with public discourse and parliamentary forums. This reference contributed to the development of a narrative suggesting misconduct and gross wrongdoing on my part, notwithstanding the absence of any prior disciplinary finding or investigative conclusion implicating me. Only several months later, during January and February, internal administrative processes were initiated. This included my transfer to gender-based violent component, but it was supposed to read desk, not component. Yes. The issuing of the notice intended suspension, the submission of my representation, and ultimately confirmation of my suspension as attached as Annexa RSA. I respectfully record that the information and incorrect public impression that proceeds
misinformation?
The misinformation and incorrect public impression that preceded these administrative steps materially contributed to an unfortunate situation in which I found myself, namely being placed on suspension, notwithstanding long-standing service record or consistent effort to combat organized crime criminal syndicate. I regret that misinformation and mischaracterization placed into the public domain appear to have contributed to this unfortunate situation. I place this explanation before the Commission so that the full sequence of events may be properly understood with correct factual context.
Then you move on, General, to deal with the referrals that were made by the Commission, which you refer to as referrals made by the Commission to the task team investigation. That's at paragraph 41, starts at paragraph 41.
In the course of its proceeding, the Commission resolved to refer certain matters, including those relating to me, for investigation by a designated task team. And I understand this referral form part of the Commission's program.
Perhaps for accuracy, our referrals were to the SAPS leadership, directed to the National Commissioner. The task team is a creation of the President. Do you follow me, General? Your heading is not accurate. But that will not affect, I guess, it should not affect the substance of what you are going to discuss. I just wanted this to be accurate. So I'm saying our referral was to the National Commissioner of SAPS, not to the task team. The task team is a creation of the President. Do you follow me? Do you follow what I'm saying, General?
No, I understand.
Thank you.
That the referral was to the National Commissioner, and the National Commissioner formed the team based on the referral.
Yeah, that is why I prefaced it by saying what you call a referral to the task team, but it wasn't the Commission's referral to the task team.
Was it a recommendation?
I'm being corrected that the task team was a creation of the National Commissioner, not of the President.
Yes.
Correct.
So I guess
But
I did not follow what happened from the media. I did not follow what exactly happened as to the creation of the task team. But anyway, the point of substance is the task team is not our creation. Thank you.
General, so that is why I prefaced it by saying you referred to it as referrals made by the Commission to the task team. And Chair's point is that the Commission didn't make any referrals to the task team. The referrals were made to the National Commissioner, and the task team is a creation of the National Commissioner.
Yeah.
But it need not detain us for purposes of your evidence, because the correct position will be reflected. But you can read what you understood it to be.
Yeah, no, we will rephrase. Because
no need, General. You just read it as it says in your statement. You've been corrected, and that's fine.
Okay.
Nothing turns on it.
All right. Should I continue?
Yes, please.
I understand this referral to form part of Commission's broader mandate to ensure that allegations raised during the inquiry are independently assessed through appropriate investigative structure. I wish to record that the referral itself does not constitute a finding of wrongdoing against me, but rather reflects procedural steps by the Commission to allow further investigation of issues raised in testimony and public discourse. Nonetheless, the existence of the referral has contributed to the continuation of adverse perception regarding my conduct and has formed part of the consequence of events that culminated in my current suspension. I will cooperate fully with all process arising from the referral, remain prepared to assist any investigative body so that the matter may be objectively assessed and resolved on the basis of verified facts rather than allegation or speculation. I respectfully place this context before the Commission to demonstrate how the accumulation of public allegation, institutional responses, and investigative referrals has led to the present situation, notwithstanding the absence of any proven misconduct on my part. I now proceed to address in the section that follow each question posed in the summons during with the systemic and the sequence which they arise.
Yes, so the first is you are addressing the issue of whether criminal syndicates have infiltrated or exerted undue influence of law enforcement agencies including SAPS, JMPD, EMPD, TMPD, NPA, SSA, and or any other matters related thereto. And you say that this is based on your personal experience, professional exposure, and information. You may proceed. 45.
Thank you. I'm able to respond to this question only to the extent of my personal experience, professional exposure, information that came to my attention in the execution of my official duties as a serving member of the South African Police Service. My direct knowledge primarily relates to the matters encountered within SAP's operation and investigation. Accordingly, any observation I make concerning the other institutions or agencies are limited to information that became known to me through operational interaction, intelligence briefings, and investigation in the South African Police Service was involved, in which South African Police Service was involved. To the extent that the question relates to institutions outside my direct mandate or personal knowledge, my response is necessarily limited to I do not purport to make findings beyond my own experience or awareness. Right,
Sorry, General, just before we deal with that, at paragraph 45, so on page 18, where it starts, as a serving member of the South African Police Service, my direct knowledge primarily relates to matters encountered with SAPS operations and investigations. When you say primarily, does it mean that you also have information about infiltration in your personal capacity, not necessarily only in your capacity as a SAPS official? Because you say primarily, you mean solely?
Which I was involved myself.
Yes.
Which I experienced myself. Yes.
But is that only as a police officer in your official capacity, or would you have encountered it in your personal capacity, in your person?
In my official capacity.
Okay. I'm just asking because you use the word primarily, which suggests that there's an aspect of it that may not just be about your official capacity. So if you said solely, then I would understand you mean you gather that information only because you are a SAPS official. But if you say primarily, it suggests that maybe from a personal point of view, you also have that knowledge. I just want to clarify it in case it becomes an issue later.
Yes, the English from the village. This is the problem.
Well, I'm giving you an opportunity to clarify it so that it doesn't become an issue when we cross-examine you. So that is why I want to know from you whether you are saying solely because of my role as a police officer and the word primarily is incorrect, or are you saying that there were personal circumstances or personal interactions that I had, not as a police officer necessarily, where I saw or witnessed infiltration?
No, it's what was official when doing my work.
Okay, thank you. You may proceed.
Accordingly, my observation...
You've read that already, don't take us back. You're now at the heading Infiltration 47. Of Law Enforcement by Criminal Syndicates, paragraph 47.
Infiltration of law enforcement by criminal syndicate. I am requested to state whether criminal syndicates have infiltrated or exerted undue influence within the law enforcement agencies, including SAPS, JMPD, TMPD, the NPA, and the State Secret Agency. or related entities. Based on my experience in the execution of my official duties, intelligence received from registered sources, crime intelligence reports, information derived from investigated case dockets, community intelligence structure, it is my considered professional view that in some instances criminal syndicates have infiltrated or exerted influence within the law enforcement structure. The phenomenon is not...
Sorry, General, just again clarification. Why do you use the word registered sources and in bracket informers? Are there sources that are not registered?
Yes. There are sources who does not want to be registered because they say no, sometimes they don't want to be exposed because it happened before. They do this in sense of duty. They don't even want remuneration. They are part of fighting crime and so forth. So there are those who will phone. Others is because maybe they are angry against somebody. Others is law-abiding citizen, not wanting what is happening in their environment. Others are competitors who want to eliminate one from there so that they can have the monopoly of dealing with whatever they are dealing alone.
Okay, so when you say based on my experience in the execution of my official duties, intelligence received from registered sources, you are then not including intelligence that you would receive from people who don't want to be registered but are still informers of?
Yes, registered sources, they will have a polyphony number as registered informers.
Okay, so there'll be an official some official recording somewhere that they are an informer.
Yes, and we remunerate them for information provided.
So if you're getting information from somebody who's not registered, you don't give that any weight, or?
No, we will ask if you don't want to be registered, if you want to be registered or you want to be rewarded for your information, and then we need to register you. Because we register you, there must be documentation to show where the money comes from, where it must be audited. And then we'll give you a polyphony number, which finance will pay to that particular polyphony number. Nowadays, you can even give us your bank number, we can deposit it into your bank account. No longer coming with the cash to give to you like before we do it.
Okay. You may proceed. 49.
The phenomenon is not recent, isolated or incidental. It has manifested repeatedly over a sustained period of years across different operational environments, geographic areas. The intelligence trend, disciplinary cases, criminal prosecution, investigative finding, with which I have been involved, indicate a recurring pattern of attempts by organized criminal groupings to compromise individuals within officials within the law enforcement agency. While not systemic across entire institution, the persistence of such infiltration attempts to reflect ongoing and evolving threat to institutional integrity that has endured over time has occurred through compromise of individual members. The phenomenon has manifested in offense, including but not limited to the following offenses: drug trafficking, taxi-related violence, gang-related violence, kidnapping for ransom, extortion, including the tender-related extortion, fraud and corruption. In some instances...
Sorry, General, can I just ask, would you include illegal mining there?
Yeah, illegal mining also should be here, because I even have an example of illegal mining to show that this happens. So maybe it's an omission.
No, it's not an omission. I see you say, but not limited to. I just want to know if we could include it.
Yeah, we could include it.
Okay, 51.
In some instances, members of law enforcement have acted in concert with criminal groupings by leaking information, manipulating investigation, and abusing the authority. Witnesses are identified by law enforcement and their identities provided to the syndicate. As a result, they are killed, intimidated, and some investigating officers are attacked. In-court cases end up struck from court rolls as investigation becomes stagnant, resulting in some of the matters being withdrawn. These activities have resulted in some compromised investigation, intimidating of investigators, failed prosecution, and erosion of public trust. I have encountered such instances during my investigation, including in the following case. By the way of illustration, Hammanskraal case 181 of 6/2018, supposed to be 2013, it's a typo, which concerned the murder of Major General Maswanganya. I served as the lead investigator. The deceased was an off-duty police general, District Commissioner of Johannesburg District at the time. He had adopted a zero-tolerance approach to corruption, and he had sustained enforcement operation targeting prostitution networks, drugs trafficking operations, illegal cigarette smuggling within his jurisdiction. Intelligence gathered during the investigation indicated that organized crime syndicate operating in collaboration with compromised individuals within the law enforcement structure perceived him as a significant threat to their criminal enterprise. As a result, contract killers were allegedly engaged to eliminate him. Following the arrest of the perpetrators, the investigation team received credible threats linked to the same criminal networks. Due to the seriousness of the threats, members of the investigative team were required to operate from a safe house under protection measures to safeguard their lives and to ensure the integrity and successful prosecution on the matter. The accused person who were ultimately arrested, convicted, and sentenced in that matter included, inter alia, a serving police officer, a registered police informant, a reservist member of the South African Defence Force. During the course of the trial proceedings, bomb threats were made against the court. Furthermore, certain occasions, information discussed during the internal police briefing was subsequently reflected in the conduct in line with questioning adopted by the defense, giving rise to a reasonable concern that sensitive operational information may have been disclosed or compromised. This development enforced the need for heightened security measures and strict compartmentalization of investigative information, including placement of investigating team in the safe house. The second case as illustration is Polokwane case 70 of 11/2020. The investigation concerned proliferation of tender-related fraud offences committed at the Lepille Water in Limpopo. That is that big water project. The alleged irregularities involved repeated procurement misconduct, diversion of public funds through service providers and contractors. The scale and persistent irregularities attracted national attention. As a result, the Minister of Waters and Sanitation, Mrs. Lindiwe Sisulu, approached the Minister of Police at the time, who was Minister Qela, requesting intervention in order to address these criminal affected the water utility. Following that request, intervention, members of Gauteng Crime Intelligence, which was led by Brigadier Modise, were tasked to take over the investigation and advise the investigation. Decision to deploy organized crime Gauteng members was operational in nature, aimed at ensuring independence, capacity, integrity in the investigation. Upon assumption of the investigation progress was made in identifying suspects and blocking payments suspected to be linked to the fraudulent contractors. Arrests were effected in connection with the tender related. As enforcement measures intensified and payments blocked, the matter escalated significantly. Intelligence and investigative findings revealed that individuals believed to be central beneficiaries of the tender scheme allegedly orchestrated the kidnapping of the acting Chief Executive Officer of the Bill Water. The purpose of the kidnapping was to coerce the acting CEO to authorize payments of previous blocked funds and secure ransom payment. An amount of 2.9 million was ultimately paid under duress, and the providers of the association were with allegedly fraudulent contracts. Subsequent investigation led to the arrest of individuals connected to the kidnapping and tender. Among those implicated was two police sergeants who were allegedly involved in the criminal conduct. One of the police fled and was later reported as deceased, but the other one was arrested. The matter is on court roll at Polokwane High Court as we speak. It illustrates the operational reality that criminal enterprise may exploit and recruit members within law enforcement to facilitate...
No, sorry, General, you skipped a very important paragraph, 67.
Okay.
I don't think intentionally, but you did.
Sorry, Commissioner. The Lipil matter demonstrated how organized criminal syndicate, once financially entrenched within public procurement system, may escalate from financial manipulation to violent coercion when confronted with enforcement action. It is further illustrated that the operational reality that criminal enterprises may exploit and recruit members within law enforcement to facilitate, protect fraudulent activities, thereby enforcing the broader pattern of infiltration described above. The matter underscores that infiltration with enforcement structure is confined to information leakage by extent to active participation in serious organized crime, including kidnapping, coercing, linked to public sector procurement. In the taxi violence investigation, there have been instances where police officials were implicated in acting in consent with rival taxi association. In certain matters investigated with Gauteng province, police were arrested for murder and having hired as hitmen in further of tax-related conflicts. Number one, Sergeant Tulani Madida was arrested and prosecuted, subsequently convicted in connection with this offense, saving life. Sergeant Arnold Magaga was likewise arrested, prosecuted, convicted with murder, charges arising from taxi violence, also serving life sentence. Sergeant Shongwe was also arrested, prosecuted in relation with similar offences. All the above mentioned officials were sentenced substantial terms of imprisonment, currently serving their respective sentences. The matters occurred in Gauteng were investigated by Taxi Violence Unit. They demonstrate that certain environments infiltration extend beyond passive compromise may involve active participation by 7 officials who in serious crime linked to the organized criminal syndicate.
Before you go on, what do you mean by passive compromise? So you say it extends beyond passive compromise and may involve active participation. What is passive compromise?
Yeah, passive compromise, I wanted to refer to where they are not literally participating or actively participating in the commission of crime, but being those who are facilitating the commission of the crime. Here, they physically went there to shoot people themselves. So they acted themselves, being instrumental in the commission, not as a conduit to the commission.
Just give me an example of that, of a passive compromise. As opposed to active participation.
I said passive
compromise.
Compromise. Right. I know that Sergeant Shibiri is the one who's having the 2 murder cases of the gangster Mr. Omslech, for example. So, and then I know who is the witnesses who are going to testify. Then I inform Omslech. And then Omslech is inside, but he arranges his people outside to eliminate the 2 witnesses so that there mustn't be a case in court. No witness, then you go scot-free.
Thank you.
Unlike Omslech send the police to go and kill the witness.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah.
76 on page 25.
In relation to aiding of arrested suspect in custody to escape, an example here is given of Northwest Province involving illegal mining kingpin who was arrested and allegedly led by the police to run away, and 4 police officers were arrested in connection with this, and the matter is court going. So I think this one was also on the news. So that shows even syndicates who are running this illegal mining, they infiltrate members and they are sometimes escorted with the gold concentrate, which when they are taking it from underground where they are placing it until they take them to the buyers and so forth. Or sometimes they are the buyers. And when they are arrested, they are able to pay their way out, and there are people working with.
You mean they are escorted by the police?
Yeah, he was arrested by the police and went out with the police. And he never came back. And later on it was understood that is the main kingpin was given problem there in Stelfontein. A commissioner will remember when the police came to there and there were an operation of extracting them from underground and so forth. So one of the main kingpin was arrested, and the police let him go, and we didn't yet find him now, but they are charged, and I think it's a Lesotho national.
Thank you. 77.
The examples demonstrate that infiltration, where it occurs, is operational and individual in nature rather than institutional capture. That is my observation.
Then the next topic is the nature, extent, and consequences of infiltration and undue influence. Page 25, paragraph 78.
Maybe before you do that, General, if you would just explain what you consider to be institutional capture, what would constitute that?
Institutional capture, it will involve, let's say, for example, a division like ours, then the senior management, they are the one who are working with these criminals and then giving instruction as to what must happen and monitoring what is happening. If there is a case against that particular person, because they are in a way criminally contracted to them, then they will have to act, and ensuring that nothing happens from that case. So, meaning those who are downwards, involuntarily forced to collude by the top management because the hierarchy is captured, and then they capture the ones who are under them and going down like that. So it is like an orchestrated, it's a syndicate within the system created by syndicate outside. Because the way they will start living, it will be like, it is normal what is done. That this one, there will be a case, then he can phone me, and then me, I phone somebody down there, and then until the command that this case, it doesn't go anywhere.
And should we understand your paragraph 77 to mean there is no institutional capture? You're making a positive statement like that, or are you qualifying it to say, in your experience and observations, your view is there is no, you don't have experience of institutional capture without meaning there isn't? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I don't have experience of institutional capture, but my experience is individuals have been captured. They can form group of two or whatsoever, working in different ways. For example, mostly this happens like this, highway patrol people, and then, or dog unit, working with certain detectives or crime intelligence who got knowledge to say, there is truck coming with lot of copper from Zambia. And then they will monitor it is passing Mudimule or whatever. They will stop it somewhere and take it, and then they will take the copper. Or this one is carrying lots of money, and this one is got cigarettes where and whatsoever. So they will go together and make as if it's an operation and take it. Sometimes they are sent by one of the syndicate who is working with them. Because he's greedy, he sees now they share too much. There are many who are sharing. So we want to minimize. Then he gets two of his police officers to go and stop and take. He knows where they are sold, and then he will come and pay them. So it becomes a syndicate to operating like that.
All right, I understand your answer. Thank you.
Thank you, General. The next topic, the nature, extent, and consequences of infiltration and undue influence, paragraph 78.
Based on my operational experience, investigative exposure, and intelligence received during the execution of my duties, the infiltration and undue influence of law enforcement institutions by critical syndicate manifest in identifiable patterns. The nature of such infiltration is seldom overt. It is typical occurs through gradual compromise of individuals, process rather than formal institutional capture. My experience and criminal syndicate seek to influence law enforcement through the following. They recruit or cultivate of individual members within the law enforcement. They use informants, intermediaries, or associates to obtain privileged information. Attempts to bribe investigators, prosecutors, court officials, and forensic personnel. Monitoring and surveillance of investigators and witnesses. Intimidation, threat, violence directed at investigators and their families. Manipulation of investigative timelines forensic process, bail proceedings. Utilization of saving for former law enforcement officials to advance criminal enterprise. Lastly, in several investigations referred in these statements, syndicates demonstrated knowledge in investigative steps, court process, operational deployment, which could only reasonably been obtained from internal compromise or unlawful disclosure. From my experience, the phenomenon is neither isolated or confined to a single unit, province, category of crime. The pattern has presented itself across multiple operational environments, including organized crime investigation, taxi violence, tender-related corruption, illegal mining activities, high-profile murder investigation.
Sorry, General, I just want to take you back to two issues that I want you to clarify. On page 25, paragraph 79, I didn't want to interrupt you. You say the nature of such infiltration is seldom overt. It typically occurs through gradual compromise of individuals and processes rather than formal institutional capture. Give me an example of gradual compromise of an individual.
Yeah. Gradual compromise, like you are guarding somewhere, they want to go there, or then they come and propose to you that we give you so much, can you let us pass and go there? Then you accede to that request, and they give you bribe, they pass.
That's how it starts, and they continuously do that, or how does it progress?
Yeah, then they will become used to you. Even if they don't want to enter somewhere, they can give you something. And then sometimes they can phone you and say, we are sending somebody, let him pass. Then when he come back, he will give you something.
Can you give me an example within your environment, in the investigation detective environment, how one would gradually compromise an investigator, for example?
I don't quite see the gradual in the examples you gave. The people come there, they say, hey, I'm going to give you this, can you let me pass? And you give them that, and they let you pass. Boom, it has happened there instantaneously. I see nothing gradual. But
okay.
Please respond to the question with particular focus on gradual.
Okay, let me give off one investigating officer investigating drug-related cases. Then somebody is arrested, he charges the person, he takes it to court. Then they say, make a plan for the first time, we'll give you how much. Then the investigator goes to the docket, removes the scale of the drugs. And the statement, number one, how they do it. You find the statement is written by somebody from the crime office and then he just said, I found him in possession of Nyaupe. Knowingly, there is no crime called Nyaupe, possession of Nyaupe. Obviously, it's not going to be enrolled. Instead of going back and correcting the statement before charging, because they gave him something, he take it to court knowing it is going to be withdrawn. And then one of the statements will indicate that, remember, you must have a reasonable suspicion to arrest somebody for possession. And you cannot go randomly and stop people and search and arrest them for possession of drugs. You must have reasonable suspicion to stop that person and search. And you must request consent first from that person. Even though the person refuses, the law says you can continue doing that because you got reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion cannot be a gut feeling. It will be maybe, for example, somebody told you there is somebody wearing a black suit at the corner is selling drugs to kids. And you see me at the corner, and then I move that other side, then you stop me, and then you say, I've got this information, and then I want to search you. You search me, and then you find the drugs. But the statement of the arresting officer is not clear. The investigator doesn't come and correct those things to say, I got information about this, I saw him, I stopped him, asked consent to search him and searched him. I found something in a bag like a powder. I asked him, what is this? He said it's cocaine. And then I gave him his right and arrested him and confiscated the cocaine and took him to be arrested. The investigator knows he's going to be withdrawn. Then they will come and give him money, then he release. So it will be a pattern that this group, when they are arrested, they will call him, even if he's not on standby, to come and charge these people to release them. Because of those. Some they do even on assault. They remove a J88 so that when the prosecutor sees the docket statement is short, then it doesn't enroll. Then when it goes back, then the statement is in there. You go to the complainant, when you get the complaint, they say, no, it was given to the investigating officer, it was there in the docket. But when the docket got to the court, it was removed.
Okay, and then the next one that I want you to just expand on is page 2693.3. You say attempts to bribe investigators, prosecutors, court officials, or forensic personnel. Is that the full extent of the network of bribery? Is it just those people, or could it be any police officers? Because you're just focusing page 26.
Yeah.
79.3.
Oh.
You speak about bribery of investigators. So I wanted to find out from you, are you only aware of bribery of investigators in respect of specific matters? For example, that would make sense to me. But bribery of senior officials that the investigators would be reporting to?
Yeah. So, no, here I was talking about investigators, prosecutors, and court officials and forensic personnel. Senior officers here can be those who are on the payroll, who can manipulate the investigators to do something. But that forms a form of a coercion, because it's not easy to go down and say, they rather take the docket away from that investigator and give the other one, who you can control. So it's not easy like that. So usually the senior managers will deal with a senior manager in that particular space where this member might be reporting to. Because it's not easy for a senior member to go to a junior member and say, do this, can't do this. Because you are not relating. You are not, usually, even if we can go out now. You'll find a lot of prosecutors knows me because I interacted a lot with them. I ran forums with them. Then you'll find out the branch commanders knows me, more especially in Gauteng, because I had weekly meetings with them, checking their performance and doing planning with them. But the members, I can know you by seeing you and even forget their names, because I don't interact with them. So it's not easy. It's not easy, because that is why they target the real people who are having the docket.
So they target the people who have the dockets, which are the investigators, but you saying that it's not easy for an investigator senior to say, I'm taking you off this case, if that senior has been bribed by the syndicate.
Yeah, I'm saying that can be a possible situation whereby if let's take myself. I know Colonel Brigadier Hanana in Western Cape. He reports to me. When there is something in Western Cape, I phone him to say, they said there is this case. Can you go and look into it or work on it? They said there is this case. That person have done 1, 2, 3. I don't trust him. Can you remove that docket and give to somebody? Then he will do that. Because whatever I will be saying, he doesn't know if I'm involved in anything. And I'm giving him a lawful instruction. Then he will comply.
Yeah, that's my point. It's not a difficult thing for a senior to say to an investigator, I'm taking you off this matter, go somewhere else. Go and investigate another matter.
But there must be a cause.
Yes, the bribe to the senior.
No, except the bribe. The bribe is there to the senior. The senior to tell that brigadier, there must be a cause. Because it cannot be something that you just wake up and say somebody remove the docket. Like I received an email from the minister, from the portfolio committee to the minister, saying a certain docket must be removed from Cape Town to the national cold case. But when I read the docket, I didn't see any reason why it must come there. So I said, no, I've got a cold case investigators in Cape Town who are near Paarl. These ones, why would they investigate by flight every day? And they don't have informers there. And these people, they've already established a relation with the family and also have something. And there are people of interest working on them. I refused. I wrote a letter back to the National Commissioner to say, based on this reason, this docket won't come here. Instead, I will send the section head from cold case, which was under me that time, Brigadier Gininda, to go there and read the docket and check and give instruction. Every month he will go there and check the docket. Why must I bring the docket here? Whereas tomorrow, the second week, they will be complaining they never seen the investigator. So I'm just bringing another complaint to my office.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then 79.6.
Sorry, before you leave 79.3, I just want to understand what you mean by court officials so that we don't leave it open-ended. You're not referring to judges and magistrates. Because you remember the section you're talking about infiltration, and you say the attempts to bribe investigators, prosecutors, and then you say court officials.
Yes.
Who are the court officials you are referring to?
Yeah. The court officials here, it will refer to even those who are working in court, like the court orderlies and clerks, but also including the magistrate, the presiding officer, even though it is not rife on them. Where it is rife is the prosecution and investigators because they work together. And we had a case of murder in Bronkhorstspruit where I'm having, this is not yet finished, this lady is now about 6 years in witness protection, who was the investigating officer for anti-corruption, where we arrested a prosecutor and that prosecutor was working with investigating officers. So, for magistrates, it is rare, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So I didn't have much time to research in the whole, but there is where you'll find they were arrested, like, I can't remember, it was Free State or where, but it's a long time. But it happened. Prosecutors, yes, they get arrested sometimes. With the anti-corruption.
Thank you.
General, you may, in answer to Commissioner Khumalo, have answered my question, but just let me ask it anyway. In that 79.3, you speak of attempts. You don't say actual bribes to investigators, prosecutors. The way you have framed it when you say attempts, my question was going to be, does it mean you're not aware of instances of actual bribes to investigators, prosecutors? And you, in your answer, you have spoken about a prosecutor who is being prosecuted.
Yeah, I said attempts because mostly they go through the investigators. Let me remember one case. I think it was involving me. They went to the prosecutor. The prosecutor now, I think, is in South Gauteng, is an advocate. That time he was a regional court prosecutor in Oberholz. So it was an armed robbery case. I think Mr. Ian Small-Smith was the lawyer. They couldn't get bail. They came with new facts, and I was opposing the bail. Then they went to the prosecutor. The prosecutor referred them to me to work through me. Then I agreed. He said, okay, how much do you have? It's a long time ago. Then they promised 6,000. So our office, you go by steps upwards. So I said, you must come to my office then. You give me the money, I will give you the docket. Then I put the docket in an envelope. It's only one way to go down. Then my colleagues were waiting for them down there. So after I took the money, they go down, they were arrested. And the prosecutor indicated that, no, I send him to him so that he can get arrested. Yeah.
All I was seeking to clarify, General, is 79.3 does not mean there have been cases where investigators have been bribed, because you speak of attempts. I don't know if you understand the distinction that I'm drawing. So you do have attempts, such as the case that you're describing where you were involved. There was an attempt and they were arrested. And what I'm seeking to clarify is, but you also have had cases where bribes were paid.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you. The one that I wanted to get clarification from is 79.1, where you speak of recruitment or cultivation, and the emphasis is on cultivation. What does that mean when you say cultivation of members?
Oh, cultivation means infiltration. You send somebody. You send somebody to the group, befriend them, make as if he's working with them. You start this kind of shenanigans of coming with money, got it there, then the whole team join, and then they start working with you.
So, would it be cultivation? Can it that concept of cultivation? Can it also reflect in members of syndicates or even just criminals creating relationships with police?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. And when I say police, I mean across the board. So they may choose to befriend you when in fact the goal is to corrupt you eventually.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, General. And then just the last one in your 79.6, manipulation of investigative timelines. How does that occur?
Yeah, you see, here is where they keep on procrastinating to get certain statements in order to finalize the investigation. And the investigation now takes time, becomes stagnant, and we find the defense will say, scrap this thing off the court roll because you are wasting our money, the state is never ready. Statement of a person needs to be taken and whatsoever. So the long postponement, which becomes unfair for the accused person to now and then go to court to appear and the matter end up postpone and postpone, then they will withdraw the matter. And some witness, they will lose interest.
And then you also mentioned utilization of serving or former law enforcement officials to advance criminal enterprise objectives.
Is paragraph
79.7.
Yeah. Here is direct involvement where they recruit you because they know you, because of love of money or whatsoever. They send you to do certain things for them, they pay you. So they use them.
But how would former law enforcement officials help them infiltrate if they former law enforcement?
Yeah. Let's say I left the police today. I worked as a head of organized crime. I attended all the meetings, and when we were developing certain strategies, I was at the forefront, including the transnational organized crime, and I work with Interpol and with SADC police. I know where to go, where not to go. If you want to go to Botswana, or where is the entrance, who can we call and whatsoever. So that rapport is still there. So it's going to be easier for me to go around. So they don't go and target everybody. Somebody will tell you that one knows, and somebody who will tell them that one knows is somebody from within who is still working.
Okay.
Yeah. So again they see, okay, you are out, and how is your life? Are you, if you are miserable, it will be easy to be taken in. So law enforcement who's got experience and whatever, that is why when planning for these CITs, most of them, they are there. When you arrest, that is why you find them there, because they know. They know to time these things. They know when the radio starts, it will be what and what. What do they do?
Okay. Thank you, General. Then you can continue at paragraph 81 on page 27.
The extent of problem reflected in instances where 7 police officers were arrested and convicted, implicated as participants in organized crime activity. Investigators required relocation to the safe house due to credible threat. Court proceedings were infiltrated by individuals linked to accused person for purpose of intimidation and monitoring. Investigative teams experienced persistent attempts to bribe and influence. Suspects were assisted to evade justice through insider facilitation. This experience demonstrates that infiltration operates at the level of individuals embedded with system rather than through formal institutional endorsement. The consequences of such infiltration are severe, far-reaching operational infiltration, compromise investigation, endangers investigators and witnesses, undermines prosecutorial process, creates fear with investigative team, enables organization crime to operate, increased confidence, erodes public trust in enforcement institution. In extreme cases, the consequences have included targeted killing of law enforcement officials, perceived as threat to criminal enterprise, the need for investigators to operate under protection, sustained attempt to corrupt judicial outcome. The accumulative effect is not merely individual corruption but institutional vulnerability, where organized criminal group attempts to neutralize law enforcement capacity from within.
Thank you, General. Now we get to the specific allegations or implications against you. The first one is you address the nature of relationships and details of communication on WhatsApp or Signal with listed persons. And you start at 85.
Maybe before you do that, General, in your paragraph 81.5, 81 rather, you don't mention among the instances where you say the problem is reflected, you give examples. You don't mention, and I would like to hear your comment about this. You don't mention, for example, loss of exhibits. We've had General Sinona testifying about the loss of drugs that were seized in a drug bust, and he was insistent in his testimony that it had to be an inside job. It had to be somebody who knew that place. So we've got a senior member of the police who says that. And on the second one, you can correct me if my facts are incorrect. I seem to recall that the Al Road drug bust also has issues about the drugs having been misplaced or something. I seem to recall that. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But also, as a member of the public, there's been who reads the media and listens to the news. There's been instances reported of exhibits that were under police control, having been lost through a break-in at a police station or where material is kept and gotten lost. The fact that you don't mention that, is it because you don't have that kind of experience? You don't consider that to be one of the issues?
Thank you, Commissioner. I know about them, but they are not under my environment. So hence I said I will talk about my experiences, other than talking about something I heard and I don't have facts. Yeah.
But by virtue of your position, by virtue of being a member of the SAPS,
yes,
you are aware that
I'm aware
kind of
that drugs,
cases.
Drugs were stolen,
yes,
and whatsoever. And that one of Al Road, the drugs were not stolen. So the police wanted to take the drugs.
I see.
The other police came and arrested them.
Okay.
And then that is where the fight is.
Okay.
And then they said, no, we were doing our job, you came and arrested us, is defeating the ends of justice. So hence they opened case against Khan and Kadwa and Brigadier Skove.
Okay. No, thank you for the correction.
So that one, I know of the ones in KZN where a lot was stolen somewhere in Pretoria. We also, my team went to intercept a drug consignment at the harbor there. But unfortunately, they couldn't get the suspect because they were tipped off. But there was a lot of drugs. What we did, we called forensic and we took the drugs back to Pretoria to the lab because we knew when you take it somewhere, it will get lost. So we made such a precaution. But even though a lot of people were not happy to say, you come to my province, you take this and you do this, you take them. Yeah, you stole the drugs. But the drugs were intact, were put on scales and whatsoever, and then taken to the forensic where there is storage for that. Because even the National Commission, I remember once he approached us and said, can you come up with a legislature of disposal of these drugs, because in Brazil they are destroying them immediately before even the case end up at court. We said no, but we need to sit down with NPA because we can't do it alone, and find out a way to say where can we make a change, and say if we found such drugs, we remove some quantity and then we test and then we destroy the rest, because if we don't do though, they go back to the street again.
Thank you, General.
Thank you, Commissioner. General, page 28, paragraph 85, where you deal with the nature of your relationship and details of communication on WhatsApp or Signal with listed persons?
I wish to firstly state that I do not use Signal platform. I do not have an active Signal app or account, or have utilized Signal on either my work or my personal cell phone. My primary means of communication are my subs issued cell phone and my personal cell phone, both of which they utilize WhatsApp. As stated in my response to the Commission Rule 10.6 notice, for the sake of completeness with regard to WhatsApp messages, I shall repeat my response hereby submit that on the 8th of February 2025, my Samsung Z Fold 5.
Please don't read the number into the record.
Was stolen at Loftus Stadium in Brooklyn, Pretoria, while attending a soccer match between Sundowns and Pirates, where my team lost.
Do you suspect Pirates fans?
No, we lost together. I'm Pirates too.
So you suspect Sundowns fans?
Yes. At the time of the incident, the cellular phone was in my trousers pocket and went missing and was stolen at the main entrance. Immediately upon discovering that I could not find it, I suspected theft and contacted the Vodacom call center, reported the incident to block the SIM card, and ITC reference number was issued to me as number 423.
You don't have to give the number.
Okay.
Just that the device was blocked.
All right.
Paragraph 89.
I further acted promptly to contacting Absa Bank to suspend my cell phone banking facility in order to prevent any misuse of my banking applications or related. I did not open a criminal case in relation to the suspected theft. During March 2025, I purchased a replacement cellular phone and continued using the same number, meaning I've done the SIM swap. My intention was to restore my contacts and my WhatsApp messages. Regrettably, WhatsApp messages could not be retrieved as they had not been backed up on my cloud storage. That functionality had not been activated at the time the device was stolen. During 25 April, my second cellular phone bearing number required an update on WhatsApp application. Following the update, device overheated and became non-functional. The phone was taken to Vodacom, where it was assessed and restarted after it was determined that the system had crashed. As a consequence of the reset, all restored messages on the device were permanently lost. No backup existed. As a result of the above, all WhatsApp messages stored on my devices became irretrievable. To the best of my recollection, I do not recall receiving or sending messages to Mr. Matlala after the phone was repaired. In further...
Sorry, General, can we just clarify? You say, to the best of my recollection, I do not recall receiving or sending WhatsApp messages to Mr. Matlala after the phone was repaired. You're referring to the one that overheated and was non-functional?
Yeah.
And is that your...
079, my official.
You don't have to say the number. Is that your SAPS number or your home number?
My SAPS number.
The SAPS number.
Yeah.
Had you received or sent WhatsApp messages to Mr. Matlala on your personal number?
Yes.
During this period?
Yes.
Okay. Continue.
I further confirm that in the ordinary course of managing device storage, I periodically delete non-essential messages in order to maintain storage capacity and device functionality. This practice is normal and prevalent among cellular phone users. It was not undertaken with any intention to conceal information. In a continued effort to comply with the Commission's request, on the 30th of January, I contacted Lieutenant Colonel, should I mention the name?
You don't have to.
Yeah, of the Cybercrime Unit to inquire whether deleted messages could be recovered from my devices. I was advised that the recovery was not possible under the circumstances, particularly in the light of absence of cloud backup and loss of the original device. The Colonel further informed me that DPCI has an arrangement with Sabric, which may have limited technical capabilities in relation to the message recovery. Acting at this advice, I contacted a certain individual in Sabric for assistance. And on the 31st of January 2026, I was advised that after consultation with the technical team, message could only be retrieved if they had been archived or backed up on the cloud, and that only limited number of deleted messages may be recoverable, subject to applicable time constraint. Then I further contacted Sergeant Kosi whether he remained in possession of relevant messages. He informed me that they were retrieved from his seized cell phone device, which are currently in possession of the Commission. In addition, I formally requested itemized billing in November for my private phone at Vodacom, and I attached the proof thereof. But the itemized billing of these phones, which are pay-as-you-go, they are not readily available, and when they were supposed to provide, they say they don't give a second party's number. So I just paid something like 2,800 for nothing because I couldn't get any information, usable information from it.
And sorry, just for the record, which number are we talking about? The personal or the SAP?
Personal one.
Personal.
No, the state one, I have the itemized billing, but it shows only the outgoing calls, not the incoming.
Okay.
But no messages either. It will show that you phoned on this time and whatsoever. In response to the question contained in the summons, the nature of my relationship, details of my communication conducted via WhatsApp and Signal, any other electronic message platform with person below, I set out my response individually as set out below. For completeness, I address the origin of relationship, the context within my interaction occurred, the nature of extent of electronic communication exchange. Unless otherwise indicated, such communications were informal, social, or work-related within ordinary professional engagement and did not involve the disclosure of classified information, operational strategy, or confidential investigative material. I further record that my responses are confined to matters within my personal knowledge and recollection. Then I start with, on the summons, they wrote Vusindlala. I know him as Vusi Abednego Makuela, not Vusindlala. I know Vusindlala, who is known as Vusi Abednego Makuela. I was introduced to him during 2019 by my friend and colleague, the late Brigadier Herman Mudisa, who at the time served as a provincial head, Gauteng Organized Crime Investigation. Brigadier Mudisa informed me that Mr. Vusi Makuela was assisting him in relation to certain investigations, and further indicated that he was regarded as a reputable traditional healer, of which I confirm I've seen the certificate.
Did Brigadier Modise tell you what the nature of the assistance was?
Yeah, it was providing information on cases which he was investigating, which he was following up.
In what manner exactly? Would he ask him to what? Do a divination of what had happened, who the suspects were, or how exactly would the assistance manifest?
Yeah, like I know Miss Mulwantwa. She's got capability. She knows a lot of people in a lot of circles where we were doing investigations. So maybe I'm afraid to say what type of investigations because I don't want to.
See, in my language, there's something called ububula. So you go to a traditional healer and you ask them,
No. It was not like that one. It was like information, like you get from the source who knows what happened. Gula, yes, we were going.
Gula, not Gula. BHU, B for boy, H for hotel, U.
That one, Commissioner. That one, it was personal one, not about the work. About the work, it was information or intelligence related to do with the work of the cases he was dealing with.
Based on information that Mr. Makubela would be having.
Yes.
Yeah. As an ordinary person now, not so much as a traditional healer.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, as a traditional leader, will go to his house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
As a registered source.
What I can tell you, it was a registered source before I knew now of crime intelligence, and I think the matter is in the High Court where they are suing each other. He's suing
Sorry,
them.
do we want to disclose that information? I'm not comfortable disclosing who registered sources are because it may place them in danger. Maybe let's just leave that one, if you don't mind.
You may continue 105.
At the time, I was serving as a colonel at the National Head Office. Following introduction, I met Makubela again at his residence in Midrand. Thereafter, I visited his residence on several occasions. And during the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic, we used to fetch some traditional remedies from his house in Midrand to help treat or limit chances of contravening the corona. So he was making those concoctions. When I knock off duty, I'll pass there and get my bottle then to go and go. So those visits occurred both official and personal contacts. The official visits were in connection with matters that Brigadier Mrisa had indicated and Mr. Makubela was assisting with, while the other visits were social.
Perhaps let's take the adjournment now and resume at 2 p.m. Let's adjourn.
I want to go to the concoction.